So just a little background story. I tried going into tutoring, and all of a sudden I was like, hey, I need to use a platform to convey my information. And then I was like, maybe I should get back to OneNote. But I was like, nah, maybe I should try something else for a change. And so I went back into my whiteboard, and I was surprised to see some interesting updates, some nice setup here and there. And I'm going to share with you my experience so far, coming from before's videos to now current video right now. So let's begin. So now here, when you're in your whiteboard by Microsoft, you click on new whiteboard, and all of a sudden what I noticed was that, hey, there is a little preview on what you want to start with in terms of the templates, and there were so many interesting categories that was recommended, and I was like, maybe I should search or templates, but I was like, nah, I'm not going to do that. And I was really scared a little bit looking at all this here, quite overwhelming. But then when I kind of like took deep breaths, I was like, okay, you know what, how can I fake it until I make it? But then I made it. Yes, I was able to figure out to start with a blank canvas. This was a little bit hidden, which I was interested to, like, observe in a way. But then I was observing other things, like for example the brainstorming categories, the problem solving. This wasn't actually the main view initially. You have to go really deep into one of these spaces here or somewhere around here to extract the template, or where this tab is currently at right now. So I was really impressed to see this. As I was thinking really deep into this, I was like, okay, this is a little bit much better. There's also things like the new section that tells you that, hey, there is a new template that is currently in that category, and if you want to hover around, it shows you either a preview on whether you are really interested in this, or you maybe want to go back and try other things. If you're interested in using this, and a little description of what this here is all about, which is really awesome to see right below, then you can click on it and move ahead. If you want to check all those, you can move to the different sections and say which one it's of interest to you, which is pretty awesome. But then when you go back, you click on that arrow backwards, and in this case here you can actually see different categories, sections right there: strategy, project planning, retrospective, gaming, workshops, learning, and all that fun stuff. So going back to recommended, you're going to see the tab that says start with a blank canvas, and once you click on this, here is how this looks like now. Before, this used to be above, and I don't know whether that makes a huge difference, but I believe when I'm putting the drop down menu, when you click on it, everything comes really down here, which is not really clean, I suppose. But now when you see, for example, clicking on the ink, the shows the tab right here, and so it's a little bit cleaner. If you want to click on the pencil more, you can double click on it, and then you can, or click on it again, and you can see more tools that you can play around with, either in terms of the thickness, in terms of the opacity, on different colors here. If you want to add a color, let's see what it has. It gives you spectrum. That is pretty new to me, so this is pretty cool to see. And it gives you the grade as which particular spectrum of colors you want. So this is really awesome to see as a nice addition to this particular space right here. There is other examples, like in terms of the arrow. If you want to draw an arrow with that pen, it shows you the one-sided arrow, or in this case, if you want a two-ended head arrows, then it shows up right there, still maintaining the integrity of the pattern of your writing. So that is pretty awesome. Now the one interesting thing here is that yes, we have the pen, but there is no pencil. I believe I checked around and no pencil for now, so maybe in future updates they'll be able to add the pencil in there. So now the highlighter is right there. You can click on it again and you get different colors, whichever one you want is up to you. And the one interesting thing as well I noticed is the use of the eraser. Once you click on the eraser, it tells you how to use it, and it says that the more you increase the speed while you're press holding that mouse, the more it increases the size of that particular erasing path that you want. So for example, you see here right now it's slow, but then as I increase the speed, it becomes bigger and bigger. So the same thing as well, maybe this should be clearer. When I go slow, nothing. As I increase it, increase it, boom, there we go. So fantastic stuff in terms of this interesting feature. We quite better, I must admit, than you selecting the three options that are available, either the big, medium or small size for the pen, and this is much more efficient for me personally. Now the ruler, there is no difference at all. You can drag this around and also maybe rotate it around depending on how we talked about this on our previous video. I'm not going to do this today. This here is to highlight any specific region, and if you want to drag it around, it's up to you. If you want to delete it, it's up to you. So that is pretty awesome. Now the next part here is the mouse. There's no interesting thing about the mouse other than either you want to crop or select a specific space or just do whatever you want. Is up to you. This is a hand gesture here, where in here to pen, press mouse wheel or right mouse button and drag. So that is up to you in terms of how you want to do it. This is much better when you have specific things, like for example putting a specific what is it called again, a sticker note. And in this case here, once you click a sticker note, you can click on various options in terms of how you want it to look like. If you want to copy and paste, it's up to you in here, but we'll dive more into this later. But for now, the reason why I want to introduce this object here is because when you're having your hand gesture, you can move it around by pressing your mouse hold and drag around up and down. It's up to you, and that is really fantastic to see how this is implemented here. Now moving on to the heart, you can have different emojis that are shown right here, and those are the ones that are currently available right now. So I hope they have more in terms of future updates, and so this is just what we have. So some of them are really generic: stars, love it, you have a question, you have your check for correct or wrong, and everything is violate, or you have the little celebration right there. It would be nice to see whether you can actually have it to animate in a way. Let's see. Anything? No, it doesn't animate, so that is pretty kind of boring, but something to keep in mind. Anyways, moving on to this is where you put your text. You can put it here and type greatest. I don't know, I just wanted to, that's something that came on top of my head. That is fine. And this here is your shapes that are provided. I hope there should be more shapes in down the future. This here is quite limited. I feel if you have like cross, or if you have some kind of like a shape where you can manipulate the size of it, no, the design of it, that is pretty awesome to have that in the future. Next here is this right here, where you can access the template, and this is how it was back then before they made that update of making it to be at the front and center. But it's really awesome as well to have it here, so that when you want to use a template, you can easily access it right there, and that's pretty awesome. We've talked about this already at the beginning of this video. We don't need to dive more into this in details. Now when you click on this here, you can access images, but here's the problem again: it doesn't connect to the internet, and this is where I feel OneNote is much better in terms of serving images from the internet rather than using this here. But hey, I think this here is for workspaces, but let's just leave it the way it is here. So if you click on images, you are going to access images on your computer, and I think that is it right here. Now if you want to go on my drive, the device, it's pretty much almost the same path, which is a little bit kind of disappointing, but hey, I'll just leave it the way it is. Now clicking on note or grid, there are things that comes to mind, like for example when you click on it, there are other options that are here for you to play around with. The one interesting thing here is that once you click on this one specifically, the 4-quadrant one, it gives you alternatives in terms of what 4 quadrants that is of interest to you. Like for example, if you click on this one and it has of different colors, you have 6 by 2, which is awesome. You can increase the number by adding notes, let's see, and you are good to go. Now other honorable mentions is that in terms of increasing the size, you can use your mouse to zoom in by dragging your mouse or rolling the wheel of the mouse backwards, or zooming in. Sorry, that was zooming out, but this is for zooming in, to wheel your mouse knob towards or away from you, sorry. So that is something to keep in mind in terms of these particular features. Or you can use this for zooming out and use this for zooming in, or putting this at the center. So that's pretty awesome. So other things here in terms of this particular clipboard here are, you don't want to throw it into the garbage bin, good for you. If you want to copy and paste, do that. And if you want to edit the text, I think you click on that. Let's see how that looks like. So this here is how you want to describe the object and this context to someone who is blind. That is pretty awesome in terms of having that accessibility for those that may not have that visual capacity to get this message in. So that is something to keep in mind. Anyways, that's pretty awesome. And this here, if you hover around, you can actually vote depending on, or react depending on which particular content are in each of the sticky notes, and that is pretty awesome here. So this on the right side here is for your timer. If you have like any project that has a time limit, or you want to time yourself or your group, you can have this set and you're good to go. In terms of share, you can share this with others, and this is what I did when I was tutoring the kid. I was able to click on this, and that was able to generate a link that I shared with the student, and the student was able to access this in real time, and we're able to show our work, collaborate together, kind of edit some things that were not really in the right path, and it was pretty awesome to have this set up right here. Now the final one here is how you want to export it. If you want to export it, once you click on it, you can have either as an image or PDF, or in terms of full export, the zip form. Now on the other side here, in here we have enhance ink shape. I don't really have this particular as one at the top of my priority, but if you're interested in building shapes with your hand, this can actually read the shape and then fix it in terms of having it in a proper symmetry, and it should be good to go. Format background, this here shows you different ways by which you can show your background. In terms of math people, you can use the graph one, which is awesome. I've not seen people use diamond, but if you are using diamond, good for you. If you want to use a wide ruler, like kind of like an exercise book, is pretty awesome. And this as well, and triangles, dots, and all that fun stuff, or different colors if you want, is up to you. Keep things a little bit quite interesting. Other than that, you have here for help and all about OneNote, and that is about it that I have in here concerning the whiteboard. I hope you found this really informative. Please hit the comment down below. Let me know your thoughts about all the interesting features that are actually right now present at the whiteboard. Do you think this is kind of like a nice upgrade, or do you think this is something that you can give it a shot? I think sometime in the future, yes, I'll give it a shot, but the only one downside is definitely the image part. It will be nice to have that more accessible to the internet, through the internet, to be able to like, hey, have more things to keep this really engaging. I must put it that way. Other than that, please let me know your thoughts about this in comment down below. By that way, we can talk to you soon. Stay smart as always, and believe in yourselves.